name is Alan Thompson, and this is the evening report coming to you from the Government Hill Seventh Adventist Church studio. We have with us here in the studio Pastor Glenn Joseph. We want to welcome you. How are you doing?
I'm fine, and thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. So we just want to briefly discuss this epic court battle that's just about to take place. A monkey versus a university professor for the first time. Tell us, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, well, I'm quite excited. I'm happy to know that something like this can finally take place.
I am too.
Yes, because all these years we're hearing this back and forth discussions, but now it has come tete-a-tete, head-to-head.
Yes.
Right? Stating that the monkey's basically stating, and he's representing all of creation, all of primates, all of dumb animals. He's basically saying, the heavens declares the glory of God. God spake and it was done. All of creation was done by God in 6 days, and he rested. And therefore, we just can't accept millions and millions of years of dating and trying to prove and testing these things that make absolutely no sense. So all of Christianity should be glued on your television right now, because the time has come. And I already pray that the verdict is going to be for creation. I believe that that's supposed to happen.
Okay. Well, we are getting reports that we have Keisha's small life outside of the courtroom right now. Keisha, we're going to you.
We are gathered here at the Universal Courtroom right here in Government Hill to witness what is stated to be an epic court case between a monkey and a local renowned professor. Yes, the buzz is all over the social media. As we learned, the monkey has endured many years of research at a university, and he's fighting back very aggressively for all primates and even mankind. The accusation is simple. Humans are not descendants of monkeys or apes. Let's get a view from one of the supporters who's now coming into the courtroom. Hi. What are your views on this epic court case?
I believe in creation. I don't believe in evolution. Evolution is a confusion.
Thank you. Let's join live in the courtroom.
All right.
Your Honor, if it pleases the court, I have a few things to say in my opening statement this morning. Case number 777 of 2016. I want you to think, I want you and this jury to think. While growing up, you kept hearing that persons, things who looked like you, perhaps behave a little bit differently from you, and have some similarities are your family members. You've been the focus of scientists time and time again, testings time and time again. Evolutionists who claim that they know all about the history of this world. And sometimes you've been forced to undergo some strange sessions of learning. Can you imagine that something like ABCs, 1, 2, 3s, that's not in your DNA, they're asking you to learn? You have no idea how to speak, how to form words, syllables, names, letters, but they're asking you to learn this? In fact, sometimes they want my client Kiki to sit down and to add, subtract, multiply, and divide as though he has a care for numbers. Imagine being battered into speak things you were never created to speak. During my case today, Your Honor, I have two witnesses. Miss Weeks, Frida Weeks, will come and tell this honorable court. She'll take the stand and say that those of mankind were products of a master plan and a plan of the great creator, and that there is documentation to prove it. In fact, Miss Weeks, who is the prosecution's client, also wants to prove that the defendants have no single theory of their claim, but have been changing their views time and time again. My second client, Miss Pearl Christian, will show that our client, Kiki, is simply a product of the creator God who in his intelligence was and is able to create any and everything. Similar species, but we're all different. She stood by the claim even amidst persecution at her university. My client would like to tell these universities, and by stretch these university professors, to get their facts straight in this court today, and to stop telling untruths about Kiki and those of his kind. My client, together with other primates, have formed the Union of Creationists under the banner Nature Declares the Glory of God. And to debunk all lies that the defense will come up here and spew this afternoon, downright evil teachings of the university, and might I say universities across this globe. My client has been subjected to caged humiliation. Caged humiliation, Your Honor, time and time again, and being studied by countless universities and their students who perpetuated the same myth that we are one and the same. I believe that my client Kiki is justified here today in these claims and will prove the defendant guilty of all such claims.
If you may please the court, Your Honor, there is a broad question of where did we come from? Why are we here? And where are we going? These are the questions that my client and many others have researched and studied. It is myopic and shallow-minded to just read from the beginning pages of a book called the Bible and claim that there is a creator. And first, witness Professor Hector will prove to the court that serious research has been done using carbon dating to prove random selection and the survival of the fittest. My second witness, Professor Leonard, will testify that the plaintiff is far too dumb to make any such claims, and that evolution is a proven fact believed by countless people. With humans sharing 96% of the same DNA as primates, Professor Leonard will show that one came from the other. Your Honor, it's absurd that a dumb animal could insult a professor and professors who have spent their entire life bringing evidence to humanity as to where we came from. Today, we hope to put this matter to rest once and for all.
Your Honor, I wish to call my first witness, Miss Weeks, to the stand.
Calling Frida Weeks to the stand.
Good morning, ma'am. Or should I say after? And for the record, can you give this court your full name?
Frida Weeks.
Frida Weeks, you say. Frida Weeks. So, Ms. Weeks, who exactly are you and what is it that you do? Can you tell us? I'm sure that everyone here wants to know.
I am a biblical historian from the Mount Sinai School of the Prophets.
So you're a biblical historian. All right, sounds pretty good. And what can you tell this honorable court about my client, Kiki, and your knowledge of creation?
Well, as recorded from the most notable source, the Bible, God created this world in 6 days. Sequentially, He created all things, starting from the most basic to the most complex. On the 5th day of creation, God created some animals. And on the 6th day, He went on to create land animals, of which Kiki was a part. On His final day, the 6th day of creation, He created man and then woman in that specific order.
So, Ms. Weeks, you've given us a very interesting story right there. And how sure are you about this story?
Very sure as the air that we breathe. There is documentation to prove this. It is all recorded in the Bible.
Well, this Bible, you say, how credible is this as a source? Can you tell this honorable court how credible the Bible is?
Yes, very, very dependable. There is no other written book on this earth that can predict the future for thousands of years, and it all comes to pass. Only the Bible can do such, because its author is the God of heavens, and he is all-knowing, so he can definitely see in the future.
Well, this all sounds so good. Miss Weeks, can you give this court, and by extension, those here looking on, just 1 or 2 examples from this Bible you speak of, just so we can have a better understanding?
Sure. Well, the Bible predicted the fall of Babylon, and that the Medes and Persians would take over. It then went on to say that the Medes would fall, and Greece would take over, and throughout history, we see that this all came to pass. It also states that the Bible gives us the precise time of the anointing and death of Jesus. Amazingly, it also tells us there will be some fools who will say there is no creator.
So are you stating then, Miss Weeks, and I'm going to slow down so that the question is clear. Are you stating then that there really is no connection between my client Kiki and this university professor?
She's leading the witness.
Overruled.
Miss Weeks, please don't get intimidated by the defense trying to intimidate you here today. Please answer the question.
No, ma'am, there's absolutely no connection.
So no connection, you say?
No, ma'am.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Defense may cross examine the witness.
Good day, Miss Weeks.
Good day, sir.
Miss Weeks, kindly tell this court again, who wrote the Bible?
Holy men inspired by God.
That's very curious, because I'm pretty sure in your statement to the prosecution, you said that God wrote the Bible. So now you're changing your statement?
It's still God who inspired them, so he is the author.
But it was men, in fact, who did write this Bible, correct?
Yes, inspired by God.
Okay, besides this Bible, is there any other source that you can use to prove creation? This creation you speak of?
No, sir, but we need no other evidence.
Okay, Miss Weeks. Did you know that today scientists can predict the future as well to some extent? Using various tools, we can predict things like hurricanes and earthquakes. Miss Weeks, the only evidence you have is this book called the Bible. Why would you stand before this court and speak of things of which you have done no research to prove its accuracy? There are many more stories of how the world was formed, like how the gods came together in population and formed the world. I see no reason why your story should be treated any differently. No further questions, Your Honor.
Witness may step down.
Thank you, sir.
To call Professor Engelbert Hector to the stand.
Professor Engelbert Hector to the stand, please.
Order.
Raise your right hand, please, sir. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
God? I know nothing of this God, nor will I swear. Well, God? God, I'm a man of science.
Then do you care to simply tell the truth,
I
sir?
will tell the truth.
Silence in the court, please.
Good day, Professor. I'm going to say you look very smart today, sir.
Good day.
Would you care to give the court your name and what you do, sir?
Certainly, my good man. My name is Professor Engelbert Hector. I have been professor at 5 prestigious universities. Yale, Harvard, Princeton, don't want to brag. I have 4 doctorates, all by the age of before I reach 30. Currently, I'm professor at Alberta University, where I am head of the science division there.
You're a very well educated professor.
Very well.
For the unlearned, can you explain to the court and give a brief overview of how the evolutionary process works?
Sure, for the unlearned and also to, the Christians as well. Simply put, biological evolution is descent with modification. Now, when I say this, I mean small evolutionary changes in gene frequency from one population to the other. Now, the descent of different species from a common ancestor over many generations is just fantastic. Evolution teaches us the history of life. May I also add, the central idea of evolution is that we all share a common ancestor. So the trees, the birds, fish, human beings, as a matter of fact, all life on earth is related. I must say though that some people have some pretty vague ideas about what evolution is. But we don't know and we can't tell you why evolution actually happens. We just know it does.
Professor, as I understand it, a very important element to understanding evolution is called carbon dating. Would you care in layman terms to explain what this is and how it works in relation to the evolutionary process?
True, certainly. I might say carbon dating, I believe, is more accurate than, what's the book called again? The Bible? Yeah, the Bible.
Well said.
No. We all know what carbon is. Carbon is necessary for life. It is graphite found in lead pencils, as well as diamonds, the hardest thing upon the face of the earth. Now, carbon-14 dating, also called radiocarbon dating, is the method of age determination that depends upon the decay to nitrogen of radiocarbon, that is carbon-14. Now, carbon-14 is continually formed in nature by the interaction of neutrons with nitrogen-14, and all this happens within, the atmosphere. It is absorbed now into green plants and then passed on to animals and human beings through the food chain. Radiocarbon decays slowly in a living organism, and the amount lost is continually replenished as long as that organism living obviously takes in air and food. Now, what makes it interesting is that once this organism dies, it ceases to absorb radiocarbon-14, so that the amount of the radiocarbon-14 in its tissues steadily decreases. Because carbon-14 decays at this constant rate, we have the clock, which starts ticking the moment something dies. And that, in a nutshell, is radiocarbon dating.
Thank you, Professor. Your Honor, I've marked as Exhibit B a photograph of soil research taken and excavated by archaeologists, including my witness. Professor, do you care to tell us a bit about this exhibit?
Sure. When I was a student, as well as a professor, and I remember those days fondly. I did many excavations. I traveled the world. And this here is a compilation of the exhibits and the many findings that I have found.
Your Honor, I ask to admit Defense Exhibit B to the court.
Any objections, counsel?
No, Your Honor.
Professor, can you explain what we are seeing here?
Okay, what you're seeing there, well, these are skulls we have unearthed showing us the evolutionary changes that took place in skulls in our ancestors. The first one, we're going from right to left. The first one is between 2 to 3 million years ago. The other is 750,000 years ago. The third is 400,000 years ago. And last is only 40,000 years ago. And with radiocarbon dating on these, I might add, my good man, that we were able to ascertain their time frames and the difference, as you can see, in the reduction of skull bones, which prove, again, the evolutionary process.
Professor, I noted that you said more than 40,000 years ago, which is obviously at odds to the creation's timeline of when the world began, which is a couple thousand years ago.
Yeah, very much so.
No further questions.
Counsel, care to examine?
Yes, Your Honor. You said your name is, what did you say again, Mr. Hector?
Professor.
Professor, I apologize.
Respect the title.
I apologize, sir. I forgot you have, 15 doctorates? Before the age of 30, I apologize, sir.
Just for.
Professor Hector, you said that before I move on, this exhibit that you had on the screen,
Yes.
you were the one who did the digging?
Yes, I did.
You were. So you said that you did this when you were a student.
As well as a professor.
As well as when you were a professor. So you admit to this court that you're no longer a professor and that you have no right to be here?
No, I'm still a professor.
No, you're still a professor, yet you said 2 seconds ago in your examination in chief that you are no longer a professor?
Yes, Your Honor.
No, I'm
You already
still a
answered the question.
I answered the question. So he's not a professor. Thank you, Counsel. Thank you very
Stick
much.
to the questions, Counsel.
Professor Hector, I'll ask you another question. Now, do you know that there are many examples where the dating methods give dates, as you say, that are wrong? For example, rocks of known age. I'll give you an example. What about the historical andesite lava flows from Mount Doom in New Zealand? And although there was one lava flow in 1949, 3 in 54, and another one in 75, the dates range from less than 0.27 to 3.5 million years ago. Can you, Professor, explain this? I want you to think about it. I mean, I know you can't explain it, but we could try.
You see,
oh, you can't? No problem. So you can't explain this. So, Professor, can you tell us, unlearned as you called us before, again, what the evolutionary process is? Just break it down for us one more time.
Simply, Counselor, change. Evolution means change. Change due to variability, hereditability, and a struggle for survival. Why is it so hard to understand?
Why is it so hard to understand? That's a good question, you know. It's a good question. So you're saying then that from the beginning of time, with this Big Bang, as you believe, that all these things had to take place before the creation of man? That's what you're saying?
Yes, that's what.
Over millions of years.
Over millions of years. That's what carbon dating is saying.
That's what carbon dating is about?
Yes, that's exactly.
Okay. I know that y'all believe this guy, what's his name? Darwin?
Yes.
And what's the other guy's name?
Andre Russell.
There's anything about them you want to tell us?
You see, when Charles Darwin and Andre Russell discovered the survival of the fittest, it all became clear to us that nature had a destination. And that destination, Counselor, was man. So we moved from a single cell organism to a multiple cell, to sea creatures, then land creatures, then apes and monkeys. Then finally, we stood upright, and now we are the most intelligent of them all.
Alright, so just to recap, we went from cells to what now? Cells to things to...
Simple cells.
Simple cells.
Let me break it down for you slowly.
Slowly, yes.
Multiple cells.
Multiple cells.
Yes, and then eventually we formed into sea creatures. And then we decided
so we swam first, yes?
Yes, and then we eventually came to the land.
We eventually swam up from the sea to the shore. Mm-hmm. Yes. I just want to hear it out loud. Yes, go ahead.
And then eventually we evolved into monkeys and apes, and then we stemmed from that. Now, here we are today.
I just want to break it down for all of those listening today that all of you were first swimming. You came out of the water. What is it you said? We came up on the shore, we crawled for a little bit, and suddenly we had hair, fur, like my client Kiki. We walked around for a little bit and then we evolved into man. Just want to be clear. Thank you, Professor. So then if it is all about this change, as you said, that's really what evolution means, change. Why is it that Kiki, my client, still exists? Shouldn't he be one of us? I want you to think about it. Think about it. Shouldn't we have left him behind and he become human like all of us today? Kiki should never exist, because if we all came out to the sea, we crawled for a little bit.
You see, that's where you need
like
some brain power to
we need
understand
some brain power.
I'm very sorry. I tried my best, but I don't think you...
I just want to know, why is it that we did not leave Kiki behind, but instead we're bringing Kiki and his family into teaching him numbers and to count and to add and to write and to draw and to speak and to whatever. We should have left them behind. What happened to the dinosaurs? Why aren't they here?
I don't think you understand.
I don't understand. You don't understand. Well, you see, I figured that none of us would understand, because it's impossible to understand what you are saying. But permit me, Your Honor, just to indulge this court for just 2 seconds. Professor, the same exhibit that you had up there a little while ago, you said that it shows the shrinking of the skull, which proves evolution.
Yes, it does.
All right, so we're continuing to evolve. So that means that 10 years before is not the same thing as now. Because evolution, right. So you admit that your brain is currently smaller than it was 10 years ago. shrinking of the skull. So man has
I
shrunk over
would
the
not be
years.
insulted.
I just want to make the point that man has shrunk over the years. This
You
is
see,
evolution.
sir,
But you know, but it's okay.
Counselor,
Yes, Your Honor.
do not insult the witness, please.
I have 4
I am guided, Your
doctorate
Honor.
degrees.
It's true. I don't have
I
any.
am a well-known scientist,
Well
and
known.
I will not put up for this.
Well known. That's good.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, but I have to leave. I have another engagement. I will not stand for this disgrace.
You will not stand. No further questions, Your Honor.
Any more witnesses?
Yes, Your Honor. At this time, can we call Miss Pearl Christian to the stand, my second witness?
Miss Pearl Christian to the stand, please.
Whose report will you believe? We shall believe nothing honor. Tell me whose report.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Good. Can you state your full name for this court and for the court record?
My name is Pearl Christian.
Good.
And I am a Christian researcher and co-founder of Abolish Evolution Research Company. My company has worked tirelessly to disprove the errors of evolution and the many, many, many errors of carbon-14 dating. I went to Bell Berkeley University, and you could believe that professor right there sitting, that professor sitting,
Answering the question.
always used to threaten to throw me out of class because I would not accept evolution, neither would I answer his questions how he wanted me to or expected me to. So they call me myopic, brainwashed, and shallow-minded. It's them, though, not me. They expect me to agree that humans
Your Honor,
evolved
objection.
from...
This was not part of the question that was asked.
Overruled.
Thank you, Your Honor. You may continue, Ms. Christian.
They expect me to believe that we evolved from and are linked to monkeys. Nonsense. A beauty like me.
Ms. Christian, so what is it exactly that you mean by this?
But wait, and in addition to that, they have now gone further into saying that we are cousins
That we humans are cousins with...
to the apes and monkeys.
So what exactly do you mean by this? What is it that they're telling you?
They are saying that the DNA of humans are so close to the DNA of the monkeys and apes that something would have had to happen to cause us to branch out separately. Ever heard such ridiculousness? Monkeys have suffered long enough because of professors like him. Have the monkeys caged up. They had to undergo all kinds of tests, observations. When they should be running, they should be free, running in the wild as God created them to do. Let me tell you, I am so glad.
Objection, Your
That
Honor. Can the witness please stick to answering the question?
Stand. Please stick to answering the question, please.
Ms. Christian, it's okay. Just answer the question.
I am so glad that Kiki is finally speaking out for them all.
So how would you describe the actions of the accused, Ms. Christian?
Preposterous and unfounded. The Bible tells us in Psalms 19 verse 1 and 2 that the heavens declare the glory of God and his firmament shows his handiwork. Day unto day utters speech. Listening?
Yes.
And night unto night shows knowledge. You see, there is so much that we can learn between each passing day about our Creator God.
Therefore, all of our research should be geared that way. We should be geared to research about God's mighty creative power. Picture this. If we see God for the artist he truly is, we would see every living thing as a separate painting with interconnections to that one true artist. But guess what? Ignorance and years of learning have turned them all foolish. It is written, yes, the good book tells us that a fool says in his heart that there is no God.
Your Honor, my witness is simply quoting from the Bible. Can't she do that?
Overruled. Your Honor,
Thank you, Your Honor.
5-minute recess.
All rise.
We shall believe the report of the Tell me whose report. We shall believe the report of
All rise.
Ms. Christian, before the defense asked to elaborate, because obviously today is making them nervous, you were speaking of the disparity between man and monkeys. Do you care to give us a little bit more of what you were saying? You can
Sure.
continue.
Yes, ma'am. As it stands, man was created the most intelligent being in the entire world and was to subdue the earth, including monkeys. No animal ever spoke and never will. Not even the parrots and songbirds. They were not created to speak. They merely are able to learn how to mimic human speech only because they are taught. On the other hand, it's innate for us human beings. No animal was created to be as intelligent as us, as man. Their skins are different. Look at Kiki. He has fur. We have hair. It's written in his DNA, and only God can change that. Now, it's true that dogs can hear better than we can. Eagles can see better than we do. And lions can run faster than we ever will. But even with all of those put together, they still cannot equal the dexterity and intelligence of man. It is warranty for the animal kingdom to end this verbal abuse and, as the professors call it, this intellectual abuse once and for all.
Your Honor, permission to tender Exhibit A into evidence and for it to be shown to the court.
Any objection, counsel?
Ms. Christian, what exactly is it that we are looking at here on the screen?
A photo of a man and a monkey, which I took.
Alright, so we're seeing the picture. There's a man, there's a monkey. What exactly do you want this court to take away from this?
It's simple, ma'am. and monkey have existed side by side from the time of their creation. And never once has there been a transformation from one into the next. They both adapt to their environment within their species.
Thank you very much, Ms. Christian. No further questions from me.
May cross-examine the witness counsel.
Good day, Mrs. Christian.
Good day, sir.
I see you had a few. They're preaching to the jury like it's church on a Sunday.
I don't go to church on Sunday. I worship on Sabbath. It's Sabbath that is linked to creation.
Whatever, Miss Christian. I find it indeed amazing that a picture you yourself have taken a couple days ago probably of a man and a monkey proves that you have existed alongside each other from the time of creation. Mrs. Christian, for this exhibit to be admissible or to have any relevance to this matter at all, wouldn't this picture have had to be taken at the time of their creation? Millions of years ago, or at least from a Christian perspective, thousands of years ago. Okay, Ms. Christian. Let me ask you a very simple question. Do you have a doctoral degree?
No, sir.
I see. Do you even have a master's degree?
Soon, sir.
The answer is no. You don't have a master's degree. So you're a lone researcher with nothing behind your name. But yet, you come to this court and show such foolish, non-research garbage.
Objection.
Why should this court make anything come out?
Objection. Objection. He is not going to witness to
Take a good look at the picture. Doesn't he have 2 hands and feet like you? Doesn't he have eyes and ears like you? Doesn't he respond to love factors like you? So why can't you see the resemblance, Miss Christian? It's all in the DNA.
Sir, I do see the resemblance. You look just like he. By the way, sir.
No insulting.
Sorry, I withdraw. And by the way, sir, if you didn't know, and if you didn't realize, all mammals were designed to have 4 limbs, 2 eyes, and 2 ears. And they were also to be able to respond and demonstrate love. That is how God wanted it to be. And another thing, referring back to ancestry, as mentioned by your witness, Professor Engelbert Hector, ancestry means past or dead. So, if Kiki is my ancestor, like my grandparents, my great-grandparents who are dead, then he should not be here.
Mrs. Christian, so just educate you a little bit. Ancestor means any person from whom one is descended. So your mother could be your ancestor.
Right.
And furthermore, when we say cousins, we mean resemble to the human species, relating to the human species, descending from a common ancestor. Just for education. No further questions.
But,
no
sir,
further questions.
But, sir.
You may step down, witness.
But, sir. That is just disgusting. My cousin.
Your Honor, I wish to call Professor Leonard to the stand.
Professor Carlton Leonard to the stand.
Good day, Professor. You care to tell the court a bit about yourself, sir?
Professor Carlton Leonard of the Institute of Human Development. I was chairman of one of the boards at NASA, the space program. I headed the Institute of Molecular Studies for many years, and I'm now retired.
Sir, can you tell us what you found in relation to monkeys and humans where DNA is concerned?
Ah, yes, young man, yes. Exciting findings, I must say. It was an exciting finding where we found the complex coding of the DNA. It was like going to the moon. Humans and chimps originate from a common ancestor, and they derive from about 6 million years ago. Given this short space of time, some mutations have taken place and are responsible for the differences we see in the two species. There are several hypotheses that account for the evolution of human behavior, and these come from changes in the parts of the genome that regulate that other gene activity. There are many questions that remain unanswered. But the chimp genome provides important clues to understanding what makes us human. We are not there yet, but we are on the verge of finding out.
So, Professor, with this breakthrough, saying that we will be able to definitely seal this argument once and for all.
Oh, yes. Darwin, yes. Darwin was not insulting us when he said we descended from apes. I dare say, he should have gone further to say, we are apes in every way. Yes. I didn't really want to say thank you, but anyway, from our long arms and no tails to our habits and behaviors. You see, because monkeys are our closest living relatives, the most useful chimp genome is key to understanding human biology and evolution. Next to the human genome itself, the breakthrough will aid scientists in their mission to learn what sets us apart from animals.
Thank you, Professor. No further questions.
Counsel, you may cross-examine the witness.
Professor, you said that you are Professor, what's your name again?
Professor Leonard, L-A-A-R-D.
Leonard.
Leonard.
Professor Leonard. Thank you for stopping in today, by the way. I just have a couple of things to point out before we get into, the cross.
Yeah.
You said that apes are our closest living relatives. That's what you said.
Certainly.
Professor, do you have a mother?
Yes.
Do you have a father?
I don't see where this question is at.
But you can answer it though. Do you have a father, Professor?
Yes.
Siblings, perhaps?
Yes.
Probably cousins.
Objection on irrelevance.
Where is this going?
It's going somewhere, Counsel. Just work with
Is this woman intelligent?
Your Honor.
Answer the question.
Thank you.
Sorry.
So you have all these relatives, but yet you claim that Kiki is your closest living relative. So someone like Kiki probably gave birth to you. All right. That's fairly understandable. In fact, I believe, Your Honor, that Professor Leonard is probably the defense's most credible witness, seeing that he was probably around from the time of the Big Bang. You might have seen all that went on. You've been here for a while. No.
Am I to take this?
I withdraw, Your Honor. Permit me to continue.
Go ahead.
So, Professor Leonard.
Yeah.
Are you aware that even though this Charles Darwin that you speak of died an evolutionist, he admitted that the concept was distasteful to him and had brought him much dismay, but he still held on to it? In fact, do you know that while he was on his dying bed, he wanted the doors to be open to the church so that he could hear the hymns? That does not sound like a man who wanted to go far into calling us monkeys, do you think? No, Professor, you know what annoys me? You know what grinds my gears about your type? You scientists? Is this thing about this breakthrough would probably, most likely, sometimes might, in 50 years, 700 years, possibly, it may, it might not, it may, we don't know, but it can happen.
It is science.
That's what I don't like. You see this uncertainty? This is madness. You'll never have the answers for us. Nothing is factual, but still you fool yourself into believing that whatever you think is fact. You call it data and then say that it is true. So, Professor, if we are currently in the 21st century, this is what year again? 2016. Can you tell the audience when exactly will we begin the breakthrough? Since we are 6 million years post now. When should we look for the breakthrough, Professor? You really don't know. That is the point that I'm making. So if you are so sure of evolution, why do you say that there are many questions that still remain unanswered? By now, everything should have been settled. You don't find creation should have been a done deal because it would have been settled from the day it happened.
Permit me to speak, please. But you cannot equally answer the question either of where God came from. How he was created.
Professor, there's a logical explanation for that. We're not supposed to be able to question and answer the question of where he came from and where we were created. Just enjoy the life that he gave to you and me. Can you, by searching, find out God? No. He's not an experiment or something you have in your universities, in your test tubes, in your labs that you can sit down and test and find out things about. That's not how it works. You cannot test him through your carbon dating methods. And unfortunately, sir, the simple thing that you and the plaintiff need and the defendant need is the one thing that you reject, and that is faith. Faith. Just know you will be going back to Pampers and you want to tell this court about a breakthrough?
What?
Overruled. Counsel.
Your Honor, I wasn't telling any lies in this honorable court. Basically stating a fact, as the professor likes to do. But Mr. Leonard, I'm tempted to ask you this.
Leonard.
Leonard. I'm sorry, you from Martinique? You're French? Okay. So Professor Leonard, I just want to ask you one more thing. You said that our behaviors are so similar to that of my client Kiki to the apes.
Yes.
Through our DNA, you said.
Yes.
All right. So it means that most of what we do came from them. That's what you're saying.
Certainly.
Right. So why is it then that Kiki doesn't take up shop and decide he's going to kill and steal and take up guns like us and do all kinds of strange things? Why is it that they are seen loving more than fighting? Why is it that they do not behave anything like us? Did we evolve into these behaviors? That's why we're like this? Can you tell us?
I would guess our environment.
You said you guess. Again, you don't know. So you guess. No, that's very well. No further questions, Your Honor. Prosecution rests at this time.
Witness, you may step down. The court will take a short recess.
All rise.
I'm the creator. I am the maker of the universe. I am the one who spoke into nothing and all creation heard. I am he who has all power in my hand. And if you believe on my word, you can stand. For I am healer, mender of broken hearts. I'm Alpha, Omega, your destiny, and where you start. I am the one who does impossible things. That's who I am. Just let me be who I am to you. Alpha, Omega, your destiny, and where you start. I am the one who does all things. That's who I am. Just let me be who I am to you.
trademark. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, why are we here? I read a quote by an author named Terry Pratchett. It read, "It is important to know where we come from, because if you don't know where you come from, then you don't know where you are going. And if you don't know where you are, then you don't know where you are. If you don't know where you are, then you don't know where you are going. And if you don't know where you are going, you are probably going wrong." Again, I ask, why are we here? We are here today because a monkey wants us to stop teaching evolution in our schools. If the mere fact that a monkey is able to bring a case to court isn't enough to dismiss his action, then I don't know what is. But enough joking. This is serious. A very serious matter indeed. The prosecution would have you believe instead in and teach creation. Creation. That a God who came from nowhere, which we aren't supposed to question, by the way, opened his mouth and everything you see on this beautiful planet was created. The animals, nature, insects, humans, all of it, in just 6 days. And how do they know this? The Bible. One book written by multiple men. In fact, it wasn't written by God, it was written by men. Multiple men who wrote the Bible. That can predict the future. Sounds a lot like science fiction, doesn't it? And why should we follow this Bible? Faith. So to recap, believe this stuff that was written a couple thousand years ago because we say so. And don't question or you lack faith. And God forbid you teach anything else, any other plausible theory, or we will carry you to court. Serious indeed. My client and the university professors, however, aren't content to just accept what they are told. We choose to believe in science. We choose to hypothesize. We choose to question. We choose to experiment. We choose to believe in evolution. That we all came from a common ancestor and change and branch off through time. We know that living things have evolved because of science, because of research on fossils. The further back we go using carbon dating, the more different the fossils of similar species are. When biologists look at living things, they see that plants and animals can be grouped according to their characteristics. Charles Darwin, famous for his theory on natural selection and the origin of the species, explained, and I quote, that grouping is natural if we admit the common parentage of allied forms together with their modification through variation and natural selection. Basically, animals keep the basic plan, but details change due to evolution. Is that so hard to believe? Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the decision is left to you today. Will you rely on the baseless opinions and this so-called faith? Or will you hold fast to the extensive scientific research that our greatest minds have gathered throughout the years? Send this ignorant mote back to where he belongs and allow my client to continue to help humanity advance through scientific education. I beg you, no, I implore you, make the right choice.
Your Honor, in closing today, the prosecution just wants to make a few points on behalf of our client Kiki. Now, the defense has said some interesting stuff, and I'm sure that many of you might have been intrigued by what he had to say. Some of you might ask why my client Kiki had to bring this case to court. The answer is simple. we would not stand up for him. So he had to do it for himself. I offered to help. That's why we're here. It's nothing more simple than that. It's pretty simple to me. Not like carbon dating and the potassium and the argon, things that we still don't understand. But that the defense has tried to make us understand. But still we're lost. Today the message is simple. The defense has asked, why is it that the Bible and the writers of the Bible would claim to predict the future? And this thing that sounds like science fiction. But again, my God, I don't know about you, Kiki's God, certainly was the one who inspired those persons to write. They never claimed to understand the future. They never claimed to predict the future. God is all-knowing. He is the only one who knows and who could have given that inspiration. Well, members of the jury, I'm sure that some of you might have asked yourself this question before. Probably from the time you were children. You've asked yourself the question about life, and as the defense says, who are we and where we're going? But based on the answer from our parents perhaps, we might have been satisfied until we got to research for ourselves. Fortunately, some of us started out with the right knowledge. We were directed in the right place, and perhaps church gave us the opportunity to read scripture for ourselves, so we could understand and to learn about this God who created all. But isn't it ironic that the opening pages of this book tell us about the beginning and of creation all at the same time? Because I put it to you, that's exactly where it should be, at the beginning. The opening pages of the Bible does not deal with the creation of God, as the defense would like to question. In fact, it acknowledges that this God has existed long before, was in existence then, and that he was who created them all. Because it is God who inspired the writing himself, as I said before. This argument is about creation, not God's existence. He has clearly stated how long it took him. Exodus tells us, Genesis tells us, 6 days. And that is so simple to follow. Simple. A child in here could understand. No big words, no highfalutin terms, no master's degree, no doctor's degree. Simple. God spake and everything existed. He did that in 6 days. Rested on the 7th. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to understand. Well, actually, the rocket scientists don't understand. So you understand what I'm saying. So they try to understand, but they still don't, because they lack this one thing, faith. And with the complexity of the earth systems and of the oceans and of the clouds and of rain, with the right balance of gases in the air and the magnetic protection of the earth, and all the green vegetation that takes place here, we must know there's a God. All we have to do is accept it by faith. That is the most simple thing we can do. It makes so much sense to me that God created this beautiful home and then placed man, you and I, here to live, with everything that we need already in balance. Even the reproductive system makes sense. For by all created things, multiplying the world is filled with all kinds of creatures, as well as vegetation, plants with seeds, and all others in different forms reproduced in their kind. That is what design is, not what the defense has told you today. When scientists studied these systems, they were supposed to say, what a great God we have. But instead, they chose to believe unimaginable garbage of these theories called evolution. Like I said to you, they change time and time and time again. Experiments change. The outcomes are different. No two professors are going to tell you the same thing, but the worst of it all is to conclude that we descended from my client, from Kiki. And we came out to the sea. Then we walked. We crawled a little bit. We had fur. And now we look like we do today. But Kiki wants to put a stop to all of this. It's funny how the defense rests most of its case on the man called Charles Darwin. who later said that his own theory of evolution had caused him much disparity and pain. And at the end, he wanted to change, but he held on to his foolish ideals. I call on you, reasonable members of this jury, after having listened to evidence put to you to show justice and to show my client Kiki and all his family members the dignity they deserve and to give humans the honor we so much deserve. We were created a little lower than the angels and now placed in this animal kingdom, according to the defense. And I shudder at the thought of that. We must remember that the past is not open to the normal processes of experimental science, as the defense would like to suggest. A scientist cannot, and I put to you, a scientist can never do experiments on events that happened in the past. They weren't there. Scientists don't measure the age of rocks. They measure something called isotope concentrations, and these can be measured fairly accurately. However, the age is calculated using assumptions about the past that can never be proven. We should remember God's admonition to Job in Job 38:4 that says, "Where were you when I laid the foundations of this earth?" Nature is there to lead us to God, not to lead us away from Him. With the planets orbiting each other and maintaining precision in their space and rotation and revolution, Earth being placed in the correct positions, not too close to the sun, or not too far, not too hot, and not too cold, just right, so that we can have life and to speak only of our Creator. Members of the jury, this case today is really about you, humans. I implore you to take back your dignity, to take back your humanity, and to take back your dominion. Not because these words come from the halls of universities and of learned professors must you think they're right. Alas, they said the Titanic was unsinkable, and look where we are. Noah was right, even when he looked foolish building an ark. Your decision today will decide whether you think yourself as human or as animal. You decide.
The court will now be in session as the jury makes its deliberations.
All rise.
Creation versus evolution. Tell me, why should people be thinking that evolution was here from the beginning? When early man first made the scene, was the monkey somewhere in between? To really think be swung on vine, and never did they talk about the one divine. It's really such a mystery that goes way, way back in history. I think it's very practical, and what I'm going to say is very factional, that we were made from God's own breath, and His wisdom we were blessed. I know the one that gave us life was the man who made Adam and his wife. We live our life in gratitude, and yet God gave us latitude. He said you can believe or not. So in this confusion, we are caught to trust His word and what He said, or all the other things we have read. Believe in what you think is right, for I am not here to start a fight, but I will trust in God above and know He made us with His love.
Members of the jury, please give your verdict.
In the case of a monkey versus the university professor,
the jury have found the professor, and by extension, the university, guilty on every count. That one, mankind descended from monkeys. Two, that carbon-14 can be used to date man's beginning. And three, that shared DNA means that we are of the same ancestry.
Thank you. The court hereby sentences you to a lifetime of biblical study. You must allow the carbon isotopes to decay from your mind. You will be assigned to a church that will teach you the truth of humanity. Hear that? Keep that man quiet. As I was saying, you will be assigned to a church that will teach you the truth of humanity as you are rehabilitated. You will also serve 10 years in human conditioning so that you can appreciate the Creator who has created you. This court now stands adjourned.
Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to thank you so much for coming. And we would like the cast to come and stand. Everyone who participated to come and stand forward. Now, what we are doing in AY is making sure that we can teach and reteach the doctrines that we believe. And this is one of the creative ways that Alan has decided that he wants to teach the creation doctrine. Let us put our hands together for Alan. And we want to also thank all those who have participated. Just come and give us your name. We have Kiki the monkey. His name is Nathan what? Nathan Yewa. Alright, just give us your name. Well, jury, you want to give us, this is the jury. This is the jury. Plenty of people to be called in the jury. But let us, first of all, call the judge. We arose many times with the judge. And his name is Bobby. Justin Bobby. Alright. Then we had the bailiff. Alright.
Luis Maxis.
Maxis. We have the prosecutor. Job well done. Well done. If I didn't know better, I would have thought she's a lawyer herself, right? She's a lawyer? Oh. Destiny. She's destined to. All right. We have the defense lawyer. Where are you? All right. David Daniel. He's also a prosecutor in the making. He's a law student. So we actually have lawyers practicing today. All right. Working. One was working and one was practicing. Now we had a spicy, Miss Christian. Tell us your name. Jamie, all right. Job well done. We had some professors. First professor who actually walked out, he couldn't take more than eat. Give us your name.
Corey Linton.
Corey Linton, job well done.
Professor Lenon. Report to me.
We also had, Frida. Frida kind of represents Friday. Frida Weeks, Days of the Weeks, and Frida actually was a historian who documented creation. So tell us your name.
Jaleesa Clark.
All right, Jaleesa Clark, thank you very much. We had our reporter, a job well done also. So what was ironic is that people were supposed to be coming in court and they saw somebody actually leaving. Small job well done. Who are we missing? We are missing our stenographer.
Ranisha Bass.
She was actually typing all through. How do you do that? How do you actually do that? Well, she was a character. And then we had the rude professor that God is, don't say anything, professor, just in I think they did a job that was excellent. And put your hands together, ladies and gentlemen, for the mastermind behind it, Alan Thompson. Come please. His name is Alan Thompson. Please give us a name. Alan Thompson.